Welcome to the Beau Show. For those who own a car, you know that you are paying heavily at the pump right now. Gas prices have surged since the beginning of 2021. I want to break this all down for you because what you're being told about gas prices and oil and what is the truth are two very different animals. The national average price for a gallon of gasoline is $4.56 as of Monday, which is 40 cents higher than it was just a month ago. But in parts of the country such as California, the price is even higher, up to $6.06, which just seems insane. The West Coast seems to be getting hit harder than anywhere else in the country. A year ago, when prices started to rise, Joe Biden said this.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Mr. President, what do you say to Americans who are worried about the supply of gas and rising prices right now?
We have been in very, very close contact with Colonial Pipeline, which is the one area you're talking about where one of the reasons the gasoline prices are going up. And I think you're going to hear some good news in the next 24 hours. And I think we'll be getting that under control. Secondly, I have, in the meantime, made it easier for us to have lifted some of the restrictions on the transportation of fuel, as well as access to the United States military providing fuel and with vehicles to get it there where places where it's badly needed. And I'd also point out that I think what this shows is that I think we have to make a greater investment in education as it relates to being able to train and graduate more people proficient in cybersecurity. I've been saying for a long, long time now, I know you could probably say it for me, but I think that one of the most important things we have to do to reclaim our place as the leading innovator in the world is to have a better educated workforce.
This was about the time that the Colonial Pipeline got hacked with ransomware. So he also points to training the workforce in cybersecurity. So at first, when prices are rising, albeit not what they are now, he points to the attack on one pipeline. And then, 6 months ago, Biden addressed the problem in this way.
You know, today, though, I want to address another challenge that families are facing, and the one I think they're most focused on right now, high gas prices. This is a problem, not just here in the United States, but around the world. The price of gasoline has reached record levels recently in Europe and in Asia. In France, at the end of last month, it reached about $7 per gallon. In Japan, it's about $5.50 per gallon, the highest it's been in years. Of course, it's always painful when gas prices spike. Today, the price of gas in America on average is $3.40 a gallon. In California, it's much higher. The impact is real. But the fact is, we faced even worse spikes before. Just in the last decade, we saw it in 2012 when the price of gasoline hit $3.90. We saw it in 2014 when it hit $3.69. And as recently as 2019, we saw it surpass $3 in many places. The fact is, we always get through those spikes, but we're going to get through this one as well, and hopefully faster. But it doesn't mean we should just stand by idly and wait for prices to drop on their own. Instead, we're taking action. The big part of the reason Americans are facing high gas prices is because oil-producing countries and large companies have not ramped up the supply of oil quickly enough to meet the demand. And the smaller supply means higher prices globally for oil. To address these issues, I got on the phone with leaders from other countries grappling with this challenge to try to find ways to lower oil prices and ultimately to the price you pay at the pump. So today I'm announcing that the largest ever release from the U.S. Strategic Petroleum Reserve to help provide the supply we need as we recover from this pandemic.
Now, for one thing, no one in America cares what the gas prices are outside of America. That's not our problem. That was back when the price was $3.40. Yet, Biden compares our prices to Europe and Asia, trying to create a basis of comparison. He then blames it as a supply and demand issue and says he's going to authorize strategic reserves to be released. Well, did that work? Here we are 6 months later, and the price is over $1 higher than when he had this press conference. And whoever wrote this speech for him, no doubt a true Mensa member, mentions that gas prices were high in 2012 and 2014, when Obama was president. They were not high during Trump's 4 years. Isn't that odd? Did we all of a sudden create 10 million drivers in the last year? This speechwriter provides facts that hurt Obama and Biden's records on gas prices. Biden goes on to say that he's having the Federal Trade Commission look into whether the oil and gas companies are pocketing the difference between the wholesale price of gas, which Biden says is down, and the retail price of gas that we drivers pay at the pump. To that end, in 6 months, what has the FTC learned? Do we even know? Sounds like BS lip service. In subsequent statements, Biden directed the blame at Russian President Vladimir Putin.
Putin's war is already hurting American families at the gas pump. Since Putin began his military buildup on Ukrainian borders, just since then, the price of the gas at the pump in America went up 75 cents. And with this action, it's going to go up further. I'm going to do everything I can to minimize Putin's price hike here at home. In coordination with our partners, we've already announced that we're releasing 60 million barrels of oil from our joint oil reserves. Half of that, 30 million, is coming from the United States.
Putin's price hike? So it's not the consumer demand and low supply, now it's Putin's price hike. By the way, if you've watched Biden's teleprompter press conferences, he has a tendency to always touch his face. I almost think this is like a poker tell. It's like whenever he does it, he's lying. Or maybe he doesn't know he's lying because he didn't read the script before he even went on camera. And in banning Russian oil, Biden forecasted more increases in price, in spite of his releasing 60 million barrels of oil from reserves. Now, if only 3% of our oil comes from Russia, why would Putin have anything to do with our prices at home? At the end of March, Biden said this.
Today, I want to talk about one aspect of Putin's war that affects and has real effects on American people. Putin's price hike that Americans and our allies are feeling at the pump. I know how much it hurts. As you've heard me say before, I grew up in a family like many of you, where the price of a gallon of gasoline went up. It was discussion at the kitchen table. Our family budgets, your family budgets, to fill a tank, none of it should hinge on whether a dictator declares war. So today I'm laying out a two-part plan, not only to ease the pain that families are feeling right now, but to end this era of dependence and uncertainty, and to lay a new foundation for true and lasting American energy independence. Parenthetically, just imagine if, in fact, Europe didn't have to count on Russian oil. If they were energy independent, it would change the nature of so much. The problem we're facing with gas prices has two roots. First, the pandemic. When COVID struck, demand for oil plummeted, so production slowed down worldwide. Because of the strength and the speed of our recovery, demand for oil shot back up much faster than the supply. That's why the cost of gas began to rise last year. The second root is Vladimir Putin. The start of this year, gas was about $3.30 a gallon. Today, it's about averaging $4.20, $4.22. It's higher in many states. Nearly $1 more in less than 3 months. The reason for that is because of Putin's war. And now many people are no longer buying Russian oil around the world. I banned the Russian import of oil here in America. Republicans and Democrats in Congress called for it and supported it. It was the right thing to do. But I said at the time, it's going to come with a cost. As Russian oil comes off the global market, supply of oil drops and prices are rising. Now Putin's price hike is hitting Americans at the pump.
Okay, so now he blames the COVID pandemic. Did you see him scratch his nose again in this clip? I'm telling you, you'll notice it more now that I'm telling you. So he's saying that production slowed and then demand got too high, too fast. And then once again, blames Putin and has a hard time saying Putin's price hike. I think the alliteration gets to him. Then just this week, at a press conference with the Japanese Prime Minister, Biden said this.
And when it comes to the gas prices, we're going through an incredible transition that is taking place that, God willing, when it's over, we'll be stronger and the world will be stronger and less reliant on fossil fuels when this is over. This is going to be a haul. This is going to take some time.
This time around, no mention of the pandemic, low supply, high demand, or Putin, but this time he talks about a transition, which is perhaps his most revealing statement to date. So let's look at this timeline. First, I want you to see the prices over a 3-year period. So look at this graph right here. From July of 2019 till about May of 2020, gas prices fall. These are the Trump years. Then right at January of 2021, look at how prices start to increase. Now let's look at the trends from May of last year through today. You can see how in May of last year, when the Colonial Pipeline was hacked, prices went up, but not all that much. On November 8th, the average price was $3.50 per gallon, when Biden talked about supply and demand. On February 24th, 2022, Putin attacked Ukraine, and 4 days later, you will see prices start to go up around February 28th. But on March 14th, they take a slight dip, though they remain around $4.20 or so. But then they begin to climb again. The most current explanation has been a tough transition off of fossil fuels, which of course has no relation to Russia. If you look at prices over a 5-year period, you will see the consistency of low prices from 2017 to 2021, with some fairly significant dips. But once you get to January of 2021, things change dramatically. So if Biden's solution was to investigate the oil companies or release oil reserves, what does he have to show for it? Prices never fell. In fact, they did the opposite. So whatever we hear about this great plan that he has, it hasn't worked. I want to talk about his last explanation, but before I do that, let's hear what Senator John Kennedy, always a purveyor of acerbic truth, had to say.
Well, quite the opposite. President Biden says that he has no control over gasoline prices and oil prices. You can't have regulatory control over the drilling, transport, storage, refining, trading, and taxation of oil, as the president does, and accurately make that statement. And the American people just don't believe him because it's just not true.
Kennedy is right. Americans just don't believe Biden. Biden as president has regulatory control over so many elements of oil production, refinement, transportation, and taxation. So for Biden to say he has no control over prices is disingenuous.